and we got to pull them out one at a time. This is the Federal Reserve. Pitch it over your shoulder. We're going to get rid of it. This is the revolving door between New York City's Wall Street and bankers and the Treasury Department. That worm, throw it over your shoulder. We're getting rid of them, too. We're going to stop them from doing that. There's qualified people all over America who could work in Washington. And Craig Roberts is a good example of that. And on and on and on. And that's what we're going to do. We ain't going to let them get away with it.
It's just incredible, Bob. And, you know, the globalists will probably set off nukes or start new wars, but to try to force us back to their bosoms of poison and lies. But when the military give more money to Ron Paul than all the candidates combined, until he got out of the race, then it was Obama, to know that everywhere people are waking up, to know that even if the globalists pull the same old tricks, people are now more and more wise to them. I see any way the enemy slices it, short of them nuking every major city and releasing bioweapons and then trying to go in their bunkers and come back out after we're all dead, short of that, I think they're going to lose. And I think their own servants, if they even try that final equation, which they're capable of, and they've written in white papers they would do, a big British Ministry of Defense report last year said they used neutron bombs on their own population. They tried to remove them from power. It doesn't matter. Any way they slice it, I see them losing. The question is, how bad will the fight be to get there?
Half of us will probably die if it gets that far.
And if you're a new listener and don't believe me, the London Guardian even reported that Dick Cheney wants to use race-specific bioweapons to wipe out certain races, and that they're standing by with neutron bombs in Europe, England, the U.S. If you tried to have a march on Washington, they drop a neutron bomb on you and then say Al-Qaeda did it. So we got to take over at the county city level with an idea. That's invincible. Bob Chapman, in closing here in the last few minutes we have in this hour, I've asked a lot of my questions, made a lot of my points. What else do you see that's important going on out there? And then obviously I want you to comment on the Chinese laughing at Geithner when he gave a speech saying everything's fine, the dollar's strong. It looks like the emperor's new clothes. People are starting to notice that the emperor's actually naked as a jaybird.
Well, the kids are outside the box. They don't work for anybody. They're in school, and they say what they think. And they not only laughed, they jeered and booed them. And very few media outlets in the United States carried it. They just said there was some laughter. It was sustained, believe me. And, of course, the Chinese government knows that. But the Chinese government's in a box. They got 30 million unemployed. They're spending $1.2 trillion to get the economy jacked up again to 8% growth in GDP, and I don't think they can do it. They're sitting on $1.5 trillion in dollar-denominated securities. What are they going to do with them? The only thing they can do is buy commodities as they have been, and they should have been buying more gold, which brings us to gold. And that is, it's down about $19 today. It was up $18 yesterday. It was down $18 the day before. Every time it goes down, buy it. Get out there and buy those coins, gold and silver coins and shares. It's very important. You take advantage of these corrections. They only last a day or two. Why? Because it's the United States government shoving it back down again, hoping it'll stay down. And they're wrong. The whole world is clamoring for gold and silver. Who's got a head in their shoulders? In
fact, Bob, for the first time in U.S. history, major insurance companies, Bloomberg is reporting, are buying huge positions in physical gold as a hedge against an imploding currency.
Northwestern Mutual Life, $400 million worth, and they say they think it's going substantially higher. And that is a first, and you're right. And you read it first in the International Forecaster.
TheInternationalForecaster.com. This is kind of a Mexican standoff, as they say, where everybody's pointing guns at everybody. But there is now a faster move towards the door, towards dumping the dollar. I mean, they're now having to admit that. Do you think they'll be able to jack the dollar up again for a while, for a year or two? Or is this the beginning of the circling the drain?
They can't. They're circling the drain. And, there's $4 trillion in currencies traded today on the foreign exchange, and about $1.5 trillion is in dollars. Now, someone's going to tell me for how many days the U.S. government thinks that they're going to be able to affect in this market today in currencies the value of the dollar. I mean, how many $1 trillion can I come up with each day to do that? They can't. They can affect it for one day, and that's it. The same thing is with gold and silver. And I think the government is out of gold. And I'll tell you why. This report came out by Rob Kirby this week. He backed into the export of gold compounds. And what they are is coin melt from 1933. The U.S. government is at the bottom of the barrel. They've been selling gold into the market, and they've been using maybe Germany or France to do it, and they're delivering them.
Yeah, they've sold the bullion bars, and they're now getting into coin melt. For those that don't know, that means bottom of the barrel. TheInternationalForecaster.com. People get a free copy there. Bob, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Got it. Bye-bye.
Great job. Okay. By the way, for listeners, don't forget Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv.